Well, good Friday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods here. Man, it is finally Friday. It is the last preseason game. As we sit here 13 days, 11 hours, 1 minute and 30 seconds away from kickoff of the 2022 season. And I don't know about you. Are you ready? I'm ready. I'm ready to get the football on. It's kind of crazy that we're down to 13 days down there. You know, when I restarted it, I believe it was about 130 days. You know, we have been through the off season of, oh my God, did we really lose to the 49ers in the wild card? And then, of course, free agency and the combine, the draft, the OTAs, training camp, and everything else. And here we are, less than 2 weeks away from the season opener. And of course, tonight is a big game, and we'll be live streaming during the game. We won't be doing the Zoom in call like we did last week. That was kind of disaster. We won't be doing that. But we will be live streaming during the game. I know most people look at this and say, you know, it's mostly guys that are going to be practice squad guys or guys that are going to be cut and things like that. But there's some players, and this is where people like me and Vosh and, Law Nation and, A to Z Sports, having all of the YouTubers out there, you get more coverage of players and you get more knowledge of players that you didn't before. You don't have, the ESPNs talking about Houston. You don't have them talking and you getting to know guys that are way down on the roster or that guys that, are no names right now. And we've brought them into your home and you've begun to enjoy those guys, and you have hopes for a lot of these guys that are out there that most people don't have a clue about. And this is where you're seeing a lot of these guys that are fighting for their NFL lives. The Cowboys got to cut down the 54-man roster, and then let people go through waivers and then get the 16 practice squad guys. But in essence, 20 guys that you have right now on your roster are going to be gone come Tuesday. They're going to be gone. And some of those guys we've gotten to know and really and truly like. So this is some of those guys' last opportunity to make an impression. And even those 80 guys that we have, some of those guys may be replaced by others that are cut on other teams as we go through and say, well, here's a place where we can improve on a position here or there and everywhere. So this game is important, and I look forward to it. We know that Will Greer is going to get a lot of playing time in here, and it's his chance to try and solidify being the backup quarterback. There's going to be guys like Terrell Basham and Carlos Watkins, guys who at the beginning of the offseason you looked at and said, these are key players and key cogs for the Dallas Cowboys that are on the bubble right now because guys like Tristan Hill have stepped up, or, Dante Fowler. There's so many guys and storylines that we just don't know. And the only way we're going to start getting, hopefully, some of these answers is by watching tonight. So definitely tune in tonight for that. Of course, the biggest storyline out there is what are we going to do without Tyron Smith? Jerry Jones, our fearless leader with First Take in town and stuff, basically said, we'll have them back for the playoffs. Well, first of all, there's no guarantee that we're going to go to the playoffs, and you have to think that losing Tyron Smith hurts those numbers. If Tyler Smith, the guy that the Cowboys believe in, the one thing I can say about the Cowboys is they've been pretty much butter for the most part of number one draft picks. You can go from 2010 to now. And right now, the bad two that you look at, you have to say, is Taco Charlton and Morris Claiborne. Morris Claiborne at least earned a ring. Taco Charlton is still in the league. The Eagles can't quite say that with their draft picks, but be that as it may. I'm going to trust the process in that first-round pick and believe that Tyler Smith is that dude. People will say, oh, but he's a rookie. Well, Tyron Smith was a rookie when he started. Travis Frederick was a rookie when he started. Zach Martin was a rookie when he started. And maybe Tyler Smith can be part of that lineage. If Tyler Smith is worried, scared, or nervous, he didn't show it last night, because this was Tyler Smith last night on the blue carpet for the Dallas Cowboys.
Have they talked about you at left tackle at all? Or?
I haven't talked about it yet, but
okay.
The future, what the future holds is, what the future holds for sure.
Well, you
obviously you're still going to be called on to do more than maybe you were 2 days ago.
Right.
How ready do you feel like for that opportunity?
I mean, I was ready as soon as I walked through the door. I knew as soon as I put my name on that piece of paper, I would be held to a certain standard. I'd be required to, give certain parts of myself to it. So, I'm ready for whatever comes ahead. We're going to approach it day by day for sure.
How's the ankle?
But we're all good. We're good.
Will you play Friday or no?
I will not be playing this Friday.
You don't play Friday? Okay.
No.
How disappointing is that to have that setback and miss those reps?
I mean, it was tough for sure, but it's part of the game. It's a 100% injury business. I'm fortunate that it's nothing severe and that I'll be back soon. But I'm just looking forward and taking it day by day. For sure.
How comfortable would you be going back to your old position after working at left guard all camp?
I mean, I played left tackle for a while. I couldn't give you an honest answer right now because I have been working guard since the preseason. But I'm ready. I practice for this. My coaches, Coach Philbin and Coach Blasco, they prepared me for this, so I'll be ready when the time comes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler.
Okay, he doesn't seem to be worried. He doesn't seem to be like a deer caught in the headlights, eyes wide open or anything. It's like, okay, this is the nature of the beast. This is the business. So yesterday, what we did here at Jobu Sports was we ended up looking at possible replacements. We went through with Eric Fisher. Eric Fisher, we hear that he's taking his time, that he's fielded calls from a bunch of different teams and hasn't decided where he wants to go. He wants to have the right opportunity. We looked at Jason Peters. Jason Peters, who's 40 years old, last played with the Bears, played 15 games last year, was definitely cost-effective, $1.75 million. And says he wants to have one more chance to try and get that ring, would like to be a mentor, and work with other guys and be whatever role he takes. So I don't know if he'd want to play for the Cowboys after being an Eagle for all those times. We looked at Nate Solder, and Nate Solder is, to me, like Ty Nsekhe. He's definitely done. Last year for the Giants, gave up like 36 pressures, 6 sacks. Not looking good there. Now, the rumor has been last night, of course, that Andrew Whitworth, Super Bowl winning tackle for the Rams, who's retired and now gone to the booth, was asked last night about the situation. And he's kind of gotten a little bit of a taste of media being careful how you word things. Because here's what happened.
After last week's game against the Texans, has your phone been ringing?
It has. I mean, obviously there's been some things with, the Cowboys and losing Tyron Smith, which is an awful deal. Such a great player and guy I've always just loved watching play. But it's been a busy day of answering calls. The problem is they're calling and texting the wrong person. They need to be texting and calling Melissa Whitworth and the kids because they have final approval on whether I'm ever going to play football again for sure.
Okay, so he's kind of had to backtrack a little bit from that. Okay, let's listen to him again, what he says. Because if you listen to this, you think that the Cowboys have called him.
After last week's game against the Texans, has your phone been ringing?
It has. I mean, obviously there's been some things with, the Cowboys and losing Tyron Smith, which is an awful deal. Such a great player. And
there's been some things with the Cowboys losing Tyron Smith. So you talk about Tyron Smith directly.
Guy I've always just loved watching play, but it's been a busy day of answering calls. The problem is they're calling and
it's been a busy day. So, she said for the last week. He said it's been a busy day after you say Tyron Smith. So that assumes that your phone has been ringing and blowing up and been busy today after Tyron Smith goes down.
And texting the wrong person. They need to be texting and calling Melissa Whitworth and the kids because they have final approval.
So, and here's the next part of that that's kind of interesting is they're talking to the wrong person because you got to get approval from my wife. That's not me, because if he wasn't interested in playing, he would say, it's nice to be wanted, but I'm starting the next phase of my life. I'm now in the media, and I'm happy to be here. I enjoyed the years that I played in the NFL, but that chapter is closed, and I'm looking forward to being, a commentator. But he doesn't say that. He says, well, it's kind of like when my boys say, hey, man, let's go to such and such game. Yeah, I'm ready to go. But I got to clear it with, make sure I'm okay with the wife. And, guys, and don't act like, you Mac Daddy and stuff. I ain't got to say nothing to my, okay. You know what? I'm the king of the castle when it's just me here, okay? But all of us know that we got to sleep with the other one. And I ain't trying to sleep with one eye open. I like to sleep good and not have worries. So when you have a partner, and that's what he's talking about, it's not just my decision. It's my family's decision. I got a wife and kids and all that have to think about this. So you look at that look. That don't look like a man that's like, he literally looks like, can I go out and play with the boys, honey? It's kind of like when you get the car keys or the dog leash, and the dog is like, because he knows he's going to go out and play. That's the dog leash look. So he probably wants to play. Now, the question is, did the Dallas Cowboys contact him? Shout out to da-da-dunt, da-da-dunt.
Damn, Gina.
To Gina, she shared last night, basically the text of this, what he said, as well as, NFL rumors that the Cowboys contacted Wadsworth. I don't know if they contacted him or not. If they did, that makes me feel at least a little bit better if they did, even if they don't get him. That means that they're not asleep at the wheel and that they are actually looking at options. That we're actually saying, hey, maybe we need to bring in somebody. Let's check and kick the tires on some people and see what's there. To me, that would be the best news of that, even if we can't get him. The funny thing is he kind of backed us away some because, all of a sudden now everybody's going, the Cowboys have contacted you. So after he had said, they're talking to the wrong person, he never said. So Whitworth then said, he never said who called him, which technically he didn't say, or who didn't call him. He reflected that he had been called. So when you listen to that, it sounded like the Cowboys had called. He now went to Twitter and said, the Cowboys he had not heard directly from the Cowboys when he won. He said, no, that's not what I said. I said I answered calls and texts from people all day since the injury, begging me to go to the Cowboys. But that's definitely not what he said. If you asked if his phone had been busy, he said it has, and specifically mentioned the Cowboys and Tyron Smith. They're calling and texting the wrong person. So I don't know what the real story is on it. I honestly don't know. And I'd have to think that the Cowboys, we've heard those rumors all day yesterday on, where that he could be a possibility. So what we're going to do is we're going to do like we did yesterday with everybody else. We'll do the pros and the cons. Wadsworth was effective last year, okay, on the Super Bowl winning team. Definitely can play. I don't know what shape he's in at this moment. Jason Peters says he's been working out in hopes of getting on a roster and so on. I don't know that Andrew Whitworth has been working out like he's going to play, knowing that he is going to be in the booth. So you have to wonder, what shape is he in and how long will it take him to get in shape? And to put that in perspective, think about when we signed Anthony Barr, where we basically ramped him up for about 3 weeks before we got him out on the field because they wanted to not go from 0 to 60 and risk a soft tissue injury. Well, that could be the same thing with Andrew Whitworth. If he hasn't been working out all off season, lifting weights and running and all that, He's not going to be in football shape right now, and you'd only have 2 weeks to get him in shape. That's not to say that, being a guy who's 41, who will be 41 years old, that he can't get into shape. Okay, so that brings me to the second point. He is going to be 41 years old. He's in great shape for a guy that's 41 years old, but he is still 41 years old. He has been playing as long almost as Jason Peters has. When we look back at the amount of games that he played last year, he played in 15 games. The year before, he played in 9. The years before that, 16, 16, 15, 16. So you're talking about a guy who is durable. He's 6'5", 330 pounds, a mountain of a man, definitely likable. You got to love his smile and so on. His contract-wise, what he was being paid with the Rams, his last contract was 3 years, $30 million. So he was about $10 million a year. Not outrageous. Maybe he would take less money at this point for a 1-year deal, and so on. Would it be better than what we have on the roster currently? I think, definitely better than Josh Ball. I think would not definitely be a long-term answer. He would be a guy that you're bringing in to, basically a 1-year deal, but a 1-year deal where you look and say, you know what, we've got to invest some money to make sure we take care of the blind side and give us time if Tyler Smith is going to be our guy to really get him there, and also as an insurance policy for the offensive line. Because here's the way you can look at this. If you look at this, where you've had Tyler Smith, who has been playing guard since May. He hasn't really been, as Kellen Moore says, has not really been doing work as a tackle since May. You can keep him at guard, and you can plug in Andrew Whitworth at tackle. That would make your offensive line better than taking the rookie with no experience, putting him at tackle, and putting Connor McGovern starting at guard. At this point, in my mind, Tyron Smith is, you can't put Tyron Smith in the equation any longer. I'm at the point of the future is now. And if you can get somebody of Whitworth's guild and ability that you could plug in now and have him as a starter, I'm okay with that. If not, my plan would be is Tyler Smith, you are now my left tackle. And you do everything you can to support him. Put the training wheels on. Keep the tight end next to him. End up doing more running games, so we're drive blocking. Have, of course, Zeke. This is where Zeke Elliott is now more important on your roster because Zeke Elliott is a great blocking back. And get him up to speed. Take your lumps early, and hopefully it won't be a sink or swim situation where he sinks, and then we find out we have nobody. It's not the ideal situation, but probably it's better that this happened now in training camp where you can try and make some plans while there are people out there that you have time to coach up. If this was week 2 or 3 in the season in the middle of a game that all of a sudden I got to take Tyler Smith who's playing guard and say, you're now the tackle without any practice on it, it's that much harder to get going. And it's that much harder in the middle of the season to bring somebody in to plug in to be your tackle. So that's what we have for you guys this morning. We'll keep our ears to the grindstone. If there's any other news on the tackle front or, where the Cowboys are leaning, I think the Cowboys are leaning that Tyler Smith is going to be the tackle, but I'm sure that they will do their due diligence and me making calls and checking guys out and probably bringing them in for workouts. And when we hear about those, we'll bring them to you. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you tonight.
Our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Sports Report.